friends, this is Bright. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how will you add a button in your activity, and when you click the button, some message will be popped up. So here, these are the two concepts we are going to see: add button and toast. So what is toast? Toast, we can say that it is a type of notification message. For example, look at this emulator. Here this is an activity. Now when I click this button, click me, you can see that some message is popped up. So and it stays only for a short period of time. Then it fades in and fades out. So how will you do that? So let me show you once again. Click the button. Now it shows some message and it lasts only for a while. So this is what we are going to see today. And here let me go to my layout. So here the layout is empty. It is only the relative layout, but there are no components. So now here I am going to take some text view. Here we have large text, plain text, medium text, small text. I am going to take a medium text. Here we will say that welcome to my app. And here when you keep the mouse over here, it shows that it displays text to the user and optionally allows them to edit it. So here in the design phase, here as you see, it is in the design phase, design mode. We can just click over here, a new box will come like that, something like a dialog box, and here you can mention what text to be displayed. For example, I'm going to say that welcome to my app. I can enter. You can see that it shows welcome to my app. Look at the text mode. You can see a text view is created. It shows welcome to my app. And here you can see that an ID is also generated, Android :ID. So by using this ID, we can recognize this object text view. So later we'll be using this ID. So if you want, we can change the ID. Either here it's select it and delete, or don't delete @ID / that is must. That is a format. We can give, say that welcome text, some name you may give. You can see that when you go to the design mode, and you can see, just tap over here, you can see the ID is changed. Previous it was text view. So like that we can customize the code. Now I am going to drag and drop a button, and here under the widgets we have OK button, OK small button. So I am taking the OK button here, and you can see that since it is a relative layout, you can see an arrow. It shows that below to the text view, welcome to my app. Now look at the text mode. You can see there is a parameter here, an attribute Android :layout below equal, that is that this button is placed below to the welcome text, that is identified by using the ID of the text view. Here the ID of the text view is welcome text. So it shows that this button is placed below to that text view. That is why it shows that Android :layout below. And here we have margin top 54 dp. Now come back to the design. So here suppose you want to change the label, you can tap over here and it shows text new button. Otherwise you may go to the text mode, and here itself we can change what label should be kept over the button. So here I am taking the design mode. It is very easy to edit. Just tap over here, do the double click or twice you have tap. Then you can say that, for example, click me. And here also we can mention button. So I'm going to say that the ID for the button, click button, some name. This will be useful later part in our code. Now you may look at the text mode. You can see that the ID is updated and the text is updated. So now we have two user interface components. First one is the text view, the second one is button. Now we are going to see the Java file which is named as welcome activity.java. Now what we have to do here in this emulator, I have a button click me. When we click this button, it should show that button is clicked. Some message should be popped up. So how will you do that? For that, first of all, we have to get this button object. Now let me close this app. I am going to run this project. We are going to see what is output now. Here I have the button, but when I click this button, nothing is coming up. So there may be 2 buttons, 3 buttons. So we have to identify that which button is clicked. So now it is same as that of Java event handling. We have to get the event object. So first of all, we have to find this particular object and ask how do you handle the event in Java. Here also, this click me button should be registered with an event listener interface. So that part of it now I'm going to do. So for that, the first step is we have to find or we have to get the button object. So how will you find or how will you get the button object? For that, we have a method called find view by ID. So here, this may be a button or this may be a checkbox. Anything we can call it as a view object. I will type here. Any object, we can call it as a view object. And there are different types of object under the view, or we can say view is the superclass for all other types of object. For example, here we are using an object called button. Then we have something called the checkbox. We have text view object. All these objects are subclass of view object. So generally we will say that there is a method find view by ID. So based on the ID we have to find it. So what is the button's ID now? Here I have the button. Its ID is click button, but directly I cannot use click button. For any view object to be found by using the find view by ID, we have to say that r dot id dot, where to say, now we can see click button. Like this we have to do, put the semicolon. So how this is formed, or how can we justify that part r dot id dot click button. Now for seeing that, I am going to show you one file. Here change the explorer. For example, I am going to take project. Here you can see your application, and here there is a under app module there is a folder called build folder. Expand it, and here we have a folder called generated, and here we have a folder called source, and under source there is a folder called R. And go to the debug, and here you can see your application. Open it, and here you can see a file called R. I'm going to open it. It is a Java file, as you see here, r.java. So if you see here, this is a final class, and you can see that the files under the build folder are generated and it should not be edited. So don't try to edit here, it may lead to error. So in the R class there are so many nested classes. You can see there is a class called anim. Automatically all these are generated. So, and here you can see another nested class called id. There is a class called id. You can see this id class is a static member of the class R. Remember, okay, we have a class called R, and this R class, it has a static member called class id. Fine. Now inside this class id we can see that our button id is generated. Now what is the id of the button? You can see here, click button. We can search it. You can see now that click button. So it is an integer constant. You can see that this class id contains an integer constant called click button. Again, it is a static member. So this class id has a static member called click button. Now see the hierarchy. R has a static member id, and id has a static member click button. Now how will you access the click button? We have to say r dot id dot click button, like this. So directly we cannot say that here we have the file find v by id. We cannot directly say that find v by id click button. So when you build your project, you can see that the r.java, it will be automatically generated, and it contains a class. It has a class called r, where this r has a static member id and the id has a static member click button. This is how it is parsed, r.id.click button. Like that, here you can see in the set content view r.layout.activity welcome. So it means R has a static member or static class called layout, which has a static member called activity welcome. We'll check that. So this is the r.java. It has a static member called layout. You can see public static final class layout, which has a, so it's a name. It has a name called activity welcome. I'm just copying it, the label. So you can see that in activity welcome, you can see that this is in the class layout. So this class layout contains our required layout name int activity welcome. So hope that now you understand why it is taken as r.layout.activity welcome. Now let us continue from here. So what does this find v by id do? I'm going to take the syntax of that. So find v by id, you can see that it returns some data of type view object. So I'm going to declare a reference variable of type view like this. You can see that view is a standard class in the package android.view. Now what we have to do, now what we have to do is we have to register the above view object to the event listener. So how will you do the registration? That part we are going to see. For that, take the view object, that is our button. Then there is a method called set on click listener. It is similar to the, for example, action listen, where we will do like that button object dot add action listener. Here instead of that set on click listener, the code will be generated like this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the anonymous inner class concept. It is very easy to do in Android Studio Editor. Just type new, press space, then press Control space bar, then find out where this on click listener is available, and here I can see here on click listener because recently I used, there is yet to see in the down somewhere. So here select the on click listener and press enter. That's all. We can see that the anonymous inner class code is automatically generated. So whenever we click over this click me button, automatically an event will be generated, and that is listened by the event listener interface, and that interface name is called on click listener, and it is the responsibility of that event listener to automatically invoke this method on click. So whenever you click the button, this on click method will be automatically invoked by the on click listener interface. So what we have to do, that we have to code inside the on click. So what we are going to do is we are going to display some message, or we are going to say that, or we are going to toast some message. Toast the message that it's clicked. Some message you might type. So how will you do that? For that, we have to use the standard class called toaster, as you see in the screen. It is in the package android.widget toast dot. It has a static member called make test in there. So three components we have to put inside, three arguments we have to place. The first one is the context, that is your runtime environment. So how will you get the context? We can say that get application context. It gives the currently running environment, that is your activities, followed by the next argument is what text to be toasted or what text to be popped up. We are going to say that it is clicked. Then how long. So how will you specify that duration? For that, the toast class contains some static members such as length short and length long. Length short means short duration. Length long means little long duration. So I am going to select length long duration. So now we are going to see what does this make text give. I'm pressing Control space bar. You can see that. See the second one. It returns an object of type toast. So I'm going to declare a variable like this, toast, like this. So now we are getting an object. Take that object and call the method show. Now I am going to run this project. You can see that the app is coming. I'm going to click the button, click me, and you can see a message is popped up which is called toast, and it stays for a particular amount of time. That's it. So here, if we want, we can reduce this code, these two statements into one. I'll show you. Delete this variable part under. I'm not going to use it here. So this make test, when you call the make test, it gives that object. So the object dot show. Here itself you can do it. Now, so what is the use of this view object? So when the event is generated, that event object will be passed to this argument. And through this argument, we can take the label of the button that I will show you now. So here, instead of it is clicked, we are going to retrieve what is the label of the button. For that, take the view argument and do the typecast button. So now it is typecasted to button class, and call the method called get text. So it retrieves the label of the button, where button is the subclass of view object. Now let me run the code once again. So the activity is restarted. I'm clicking the button, you can see, click me. So this is how to add a button into the activity, and we can interact with that button. When I click the button, some message is toasted like this. Thank you for watching this.